Hi, welcome back. I am Jansi. So last video we have discussed about the physical features. So in continuation to that we are going to discuss the other physical features in detail. So what are the physical features of our country? Those are, as we said earlier, the Himalayan mountains, the northern plains, the Peninsula Plateau, the Indian desert, the coastal plains, and finally the islands. In the last video, we have discussed about the Himalayan mountains, its location, its altitude, and its width, and also the three parallel ranges, and the composition of each and every range, and it was famous for hill stations or for the dunes or the highest peaks. We have seen those. And the northern plains, we have said that the combination of the three rivers and their tributaries which led the alluvial soil for millions of years, forming the northern plains. So in continuation to that, we'll learn Peninsula Plateau, Indian desert, coastal plains and islands in this video. So let us go to the Peninsula Plateau. So Peninsula Plateau, in this pic you can see that it is a tableland composed of old crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rock. So igneous means fire. So this was the primary rocks which has been formed from the magma. The volcanoes, when it blasts, it comes out as lava, which is firing balls. So igneous is nothing but that fire. So this lava, when it came out, it was equal to the fire in the temperature, and slowly it cooled down to form the igneous rocks. And the next is metamorphic rocks. Metamorph is nothing but change in the shape of the form. So these igneous rocks, they broke down, they gathered together and they form a different rocks. So by the action of a natural agents just like sunlight, water, wind and also the other factors which gives an another form. Those are called as metamorphic rocks. So the Peninsula Plateau, it was an elevated one. As we said, the plateau is an tableland or elevated one with the steep slopes and with a broad summit. So it composed of crystalline, igneous and metamorphic rock. So how these has been formed? It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land. So as we have seen previously, we said that once before the formation of the continents, we have only one landmass called as Pangaea and surrounded by an ocean called as Panthalassa Ocean. But due to the tectonic movements of these plates, slowly our landmass has been broken down into two large pieces. The north is called as Angara and the south part is called as Gondwana. So here at those times it was a very oldest one. So this Gondwana land which has been, the tectonic plates has been broken and drifting to form the present Peninsular Plateau of our country. So actually these Peninsular Plateau have been divided into two. Those are Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau. So the part above the Narmada River is considered as Central Highland, which is wider, and the part which was to the south of Narmada is called as Deccan Plateau. So generally this is a triangular landmass. So in the Deccan Plateau, we have to discuss about this Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats. This Deccan Plateau was of volcanic origin and It was bounded by the Western Ghats towards its west side and Eastern Ghats towards its east side. So when you look over this map, you can see the Western Ghats, it is a continuous series of hills, but in the Eastern Ghats it has been dissected, or it has a gaps. It is not continuous as the Western Ghats, it has a gaps here. We can see all the peninsula rivers have their birth at Western Ghats and they flow towards the east side, breaking down the Eastern Ghats and draining into Bay of Bengal. So this comprises the Deccan Plateau. So the next is the Indian Desert. So as we said, the desert is a very dry area with a very less vegetation and a very high temperature. So here when we go about this Indian desert, it lies towards the western margin of Aravalli Hills, touching the two states Rajasthan and Gujarat. The Indian desert is the Thar Desert. It is also called as Great Indian Desert, which ranks 9th among the other deserts in the area wise. So it also covered with sand dunes. So as we know that all the deserts will be having the sand dunes, and the rainfall it receives an average of 150 millimeters and consists of arid climate, very dry climate, and the vegetation is also very low, and the streams appear during the rainy season and also disappear after that. And here in the pic you can see that the dunes are crescent shape, which are called as barchans. And after this Indian desert, we will go through about this coastal plain of India. So the narrow coastal strips along the Arabian Sea on the west and Bay of Bengal on the east are termed as coastal plains. In the previous videos of political divisions, I even given you the 9 coastal states and the regional names of the coastal states. Even you can see here the Konkan coast, the Malabar coast, the Coromandel coast, the Andhra coast and Utkal coast. So the major rivers Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, all those together form the coastal plain both on the west and east side of a country. So generally the coastal plains, they provide a very good alluvial soil and with adequate water facilities. These areas will be densely populated. And finally we'll go through this islands. So one of the landforms of a country are islands. Everyone knows that islands are a piece of land surrounded by water on all sides. So there are 2 island groups in our country, that is in southwest direction in Arabian Sea they were Lakshadweep Islands, and in southeast direction of Bay of Bengal, Andaman and Nicobar Islands are there. So these Lakshadweep Islands, they were near to the Malabar coast and composed of small coral islands. Earlier this Lakshadweep were termed as Lakkadevi and also Minikoi and Ammandevi. So these are the forms, small parts of this, and those are combined together in the year 1973 and called as Lakshadweep Islands. So previously they were called with different names. So we have some divisions there. So those 3 parts, that is Lakkadevi, Minikoi and Ammandevi, those 3 parts were clubbed together and called as Lakshadweep Islands from 1973. Its area is 32 square kilometers. And in this Lakshadweep Island, we have a bird sanctuary at Piti Island. And finally, when we come to the Andaman and Nicobar, it was bigger in size when compared with the Lakshadweep Islands, and those are numerous and they are scattered all over this Bay of Bengal. And they were very close to the equator where you can experience the equatorial type of climate. It will be very hot and it receives very good rainfall, which has a very thick forest in Andaman and Nicobar. So here I'll conclude the physical features of our country. So please subscribe the channel for more videos, like it and share it. Thank you everyone for watching the video.